And we're going to kick things off with a returning Dak Prescott getting the job done for the Dallas Cowboys in their win over the Detroit Lions 24-6. They moved to 5-2 as the Lions moved to 1-5. Dak Prescott in his return back, 19 of 25, 207 yards and a tutty, wins his first start after returning from that brutal hand injury that kept him on the sideline, and brought in Cooper Rush. Aaron, your takeaways from Dak Prescott's return?
It was all right. It was all right. Nothing to write home about. But also, I didn't expect it to be anything to write home about. Like we talk about what we're looking for Dak Prescott to be. Everybody else might be looking for something else, and I really don't care what they're looking for. What I am looking for is moments when you need the dynamic quarterback to make a play. They make a play. Moments where you can't have the ball turned over to the other team, they don't turn it over. Moments you need a drive to ice a game, they find a way to ice the game. See, the biggest misconception about these guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and what they do, because they throw the ball so much throughout the game, is that they're always perfect. They're not perfect. Patrick Mahomes threw a pick yesterday in this game, but when you need him to step up to go win a game, that's what you're asking your $40 million quarterback to do. That's the difference between, again, not trying to throw other names out there, Geno Smith and getting a big payday and a franchise quarterback that you believe in. It really is. It's not that we don't think these guys can play. Every NFL quarterback has been talented on their team before, whether that's been in college, high school. They've always been the best player. They've all been elite at some level. The problem is when you need it most, are they going to be there to make that play? And that's really the difference between a Cooper Rush and a Dak Prescott. And that's going to continue to be the difference between those guys. So they did what they needed to do. The defense carried them as they should, because that's what the strength of this team. And the running game was solid. And then you come in and you let Dak Prescott not make mistakes. And he had some tough throws early, but he figured it out. And then there were a couple of balls that he needed to put on time, on location, and he did. And that's what you're looking for. And it was pretty much what I expected out of this game. Could he have thrown 3 touchdowns? Absolutely. They just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to run the ball at the 1 yard line because we got Ezekiel Elliott, who's probably one of the biggest, strongest backs in the league, despite being, quote, washed. So they did exactly what they needed to do. 140 yards on the ground, played great defense, and Dak didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns for Ezekiel Elliott in this game, a big part in their win. The defense of the Cowboys forced 5 turnovers on the Lions. It's the most turnovers the Lions have had in a single game since 2018. This Lions offense has been struggling as of late, especially the past 2 games. The shutout against New England Patriots in Week 5, now coming out of the bye, only scoring 6 points, averaging, the first 4 games of the season, they averaged 35 points a game. Now they can barely score a tutty. Is this just how much of this is the Lions offense being bad, and how much of this is the Lions offense being banged up now without Amon-Ra St. Brown and still no DeAndre Swift?
I think it has a lot to do with the injuries. And I'm not making excuses for them. They're a very creative play calling team. There were multiple opportunities in that game that they could have scored. The Jamal Williams fumble at the 1 yard line, that was tough, but they missed their dynamic players. They have nobody dynamic when you take DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown off the field. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not scared of Josh Reynolds. I'm sorry. I'm not, DJ Chark wasn't even there. Like, he's on IR. TJ Hawkinson has been basically a ghost of a tight end for most of the season. They're throwing to guys that I've never.
Khalif Raymond. Hey, put some respect on Khalif Raymond's name.
No, I wasn't talking about Khalif Raymond. I'm talking about Brock Wright. I know who Khalif Raymond is, but Brock Wright, I don't know really much about him. That's your one of your main targets. It's just there's nobody dynamic, so it's hard to score. And I love Ben Johnson. I think he's a very creative play caller, and they had opportunities. But come on, when you're playing a defense like that's that elite, you got to have your guys. So they've struggled offensively. A couple of field goals there, couldn't punch it in the red zone. That made a difference. But Dallas has done a very good job of holding teams out of the end zone. They had only given up one touchdown. The Detroit Lions are what they are. They are a scrappy. exciting team, but it's a results-oriented league. And the results aren't there right now for Detroit. It's not like it's Jacksonville. It's not like it's the Jets where they're coming away and they're getting some of these wins. And I'm not impatient. I'm patient with guys like Dan Campbell. Like, I don't want to see him go, but eventually in the NFL, that's going to wear thin, right? That rah, like, you have to couple that leader of men ability with results on the football field. But again, they have also not found their franchise quarterback. And everybody else has been given a chance to get that franchise quarterback, or at least draft their franchise quarterback. They chose to draft a wide receiver in this year's draft instead of going Kenny Pickett, instead of going Malik Willis. That was their choice. That, you know what I mean? Instead of going, trading up for that quarterback, they traded up for the receiver.
Yeah.
They took Aiden Hutchinson at 2, which is fine. You got your edge rusher. He is a beast, by the way. Next year, they're going to go get their franchise quarterback. But do you do that under Dan Campbell and then say, well, you only get next year? I
worry about that because, we've seen it before too, with the problems that come with you going out and getting your franchise quarterback, but it's not the franchise quarterback that said head coach that you have wants. So do you go in and say, okay, we're giving Dan Campbell one more year. He's going to be able to take our franchise quarterback. And then he doesn't do good that first year because he has a rookie quarterback. And then it's like, shit, now we have a new coach, but now this new coach is not familiar with this quarterback. They're like, this is not
Justin
his quarterback.
Fields thing.
So it's like, yeah,
it's the same thing that happened with Justin Fields.
It's not a good situation if that's the route the Lions do go down. And it's been tough not to make excuses with the Amon-Ra St. Brown and the DeAndre Swift, but those are two big pieces that they do not have. We still have hopes for the Lions to bounce back. We're still rooting for Dan Campbell and this team because, well, they're just a fun team to root for. But Dylan would be very disappointed in you for not knowing who Brock Wright is. He is a second-year tight end out of the University of Notre Dame.
Nobody cares about Notre Dame. Didn't Notre Dame start in the top 10 this year? Where are they at? That's what
I don't know. They're the most overrated team in the college football every year. So I digress.
That's my point. Nobody cares about Notre Dame.
That's fair. Let's move on here.